Modele
I was just going to say Tunde Kawe. So that your butter can do cocoa.
It's already doing cocoa over
Abi.
cocoa self. All right, 16 minutes after 9. You're still on to Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. In the world, in a class of ours, and no doubt about that, we mean business. Welcome to the final lap on Rise and Shine this morning, and it's nice to know that you're there. And definitely for your butter to do cocoa. I guess by now we're all settled at our various offices. My name is Olatunde Idowu.
And I am Omodele Oyedeko. And you're welcome to the final lap of Rise and Shine. This is the segment where we get to discuss topical issues that affect us as Nigerians. And this morning, what are we looking at?
Yeah, before we go into what we are exactly going to be looking at, you can actually get it from what we will say. One of the values which exalts a nation is education. It is the only legacy a parent can bequeath to a child, which will continue to be with the child forever. Education is one sector that contributes greatly to the development of any nation. In the last 3 to 4 years, there has been, so to say, a change when it comes to the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB. And what is that change? It came as a result of the use of the CBT, the computer-based test, where some people have come out to say, no, we don't want this, while others say, yes, this probably is a good step in the right direction. Some have said, let's go back to the PPT, that's the paper and pencil test. Let's stick to that, and let's just keep using what we know how to use best. And this is just why we have sought to bring us experts who will deliberate, who will shed more light on which seem to be better. Is it the computer-based test or
the paper pencil test? And with us in the studio this morning, we have educationists, we have people that are experts in this field, in the education sector. We have Mr. Atonda Olajide and also Mr. Ajayi Adebisi this morning. We are going to be discussing this issue together. We are going to be looking at it from different angles. So you are welcome to the studios, young man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
is it true that education exalts a nation? Mr. Jide.
Correctly, we can say that education exalts a nation because education gives knowledge, give innovation, give ideas, how to do things and make things better, expose generations so how they can understand the growth of their country or a society. So you can check it. Even when you check Japan, when Japan had attack by US in 1945, you realize that US came to rescue and to revamp their economy. More so, they introduced policies that can change their education sector, introduce education to them, help the policy, help them in their education sector. And look at it, it changed and evolved their country, even to date. So we can actually say that education actually grew the nation.
Now, a recent report has revealed that 10.5 million out-of-school children are in Nigeria. Mr. Ajayi, is this true?
Well, I'm not privileged to that statistics, but going by the research I did recently, I will partly agree with that because 2013 to this time, I did a kind of research, and I found out that on yearly basis we have 1 million plus, between 1 million and 1.2 million students of secondary school. They get out of secondary school and they don't have admission, irrespective of their performances at the examinations. Because all our tertiary institutions in Nigeria, private, public, federal, state, monotechnics, polytechnics can only admit approximately 500,000 students a year. And then if you check the statistics of JAMB, as at last year, the total number of students that registered was about 1.6 million students. And even if all these students passed, if they are passed and they are admissible, it's only about 500 that will get admission, meaning 1 million plus will still stay at home. And that has made our students, our children, to now be having experiences. We have students that have 2 years experience, 3 years experience. We have some that are having 3 years experience. So if we calculate about 5 years together, at least from that statistics, I can estimate about 7 to 8 million students that don't have admission into universities. And this year, about 1.6 will also come out of secondary school, and then they've written JAMB, and only about 500,000 will get admission. So meaning, for this year again, over 1 million will still stay at home. So that statistics, I partly agree with it.
All right, now, Mr. Olajide, let's go to our focus for today. CBT or PPT, which one do you prefer?
Wow, that's interesting. PPT and CBT. Personally, I will be neutral in one side in my analysis, because I want to appreciate Professor Tibo Jeremide from bringing innovation to Nigeria. Reason being that, you see, PPT started in 1978, and in 2012, we maneuvered into
CBT.
CBT. Now, over 30 years, we've been writing PPT. We need to move forward. And now, researcher proves something that we cannot be in paperless generation, which is very, very impossible. We cannot be paperless generation, it's not possible. But we can improve. Innovations are very coming. Bringing CBT into the system. And why CBT? Is because of the technology advancements every day. Where we were last year in the area of information technology, that's not where we are today. So we need to move on from underdeveloped to developing, from then to developed country. I believe so much that President have tried. I appreciate his courage. Nigerian problem we have is just that we don't want to go for change. See, in the area of education, we need to move to CBT. Though I said earlier on that I will be neutral. I will not say that we should cancel CBT because of the irregularity, because of the problems we are facing, because of the challenges we are facing. I will talk like a parent now, and I will talk like a student that have the experience of CBT, the dynamic of CBT. Although, if you look at PPT, a lot of problems have already crept in, a lot of malpractices, a lot of deficiency that they will make us to know. In fact, even without saying it, we observed that our students, they cannot confidently say that this exam is written by them because there are machineries outside there. In fact, there was a law that if you are caught, so many years you'll be put into prison. Just for call of malpractices. Malpractice is a sin, and that's the truth. It will result what we call half-baked. So I believe so much that if you look at CBT, of course of the challenges we are facing there, though it has reduced malpractices drastically.
Okay.
But on this note, CBT is still favorable. And also, we can correct the abnormality. We can correct it, even though we want to match up with the developed countries.
Mr. Ajayi, what's your take on CBT and PPT?
Thank you very much. while I was undergoing a training as an educationist. There's a concept we talk about, we call it test and measurement. You know, when a student is to write exam, there are so many things that are into play. The psychology, the pressure, the exam tension, assign the level of performance and level of preparation. Now, let me start from the policy that established, or let me say act that established a JAMB. JAMB was established for the single purpose of equalizing or balancing the education or the admission level of northerners and the southerners. Now, if we look at it as it has been going, that's why we have catchment area for universities and the likes. Now, when we come to this level, if we now consider CBT, in the northern states, their governments are trying. But one thing is this: if you go to an average northern school, they have lab, they have computers, but they are covered. Now let's come to south now.
Okay.
If you take your state, for example, if you go to areas like Ibeti, Fiditi, or just Okewo side, even when the school have when there are computers for the school, there are no power to run them. Meaning a student will stay in school for 6 years, and on the average, we have an average of 10 hours for the 6 years, 10 hours exposure to computer. Now you want such students to now come and write exam with computer. That is one. Now what brought about CBT? We want to eradicate malpractices.
And can this be eradicated
Now
through
I will
CBT?
tell you that years back there was nothing like case of Yahoo Yahoo.
Mhm.
But now we have Yahoo Yahoo cases, right? Meaning internet crime. So what I'm trying to put across is that IT, technology crime, is the most sophisticated. The CBT has only reduced the malpractices, but it has not eradicated it. And in the process of reducing it, it's creating so many other problems that are obvious.
Mm.
It's creating so many other students that has read, prepared so hard, now get to the center because of our technology know-how in Nigeria. In the course of writing exam, there's power outage, or someone kicked socket somewhere, and the system shuts down. Now, what will happen to that child? Whatever, let's assume it's a number 40, something out of 50. It means all that he has written, even if the system is on UPS, by the time it comes up and it continues, it's already destabilized. It can no longer perform at the maximum level again. That is one. Then two, you cannot tell me that everything that go on computer cannot be manipulated. So many manipulations are going on underneath that are not clear to the public. But the computer analysts will know that everything that go on can still be manipulated. So this thing has not been able to solve totally the problem that we're having.
Okay.
Now, another one is this. All the centers we have in Nigeria cannot cater for the population of students that are writing exams. I just mentioned recently that over 1.6 million students wrote the exams. And how many students do we have? How many centers do we have? Register centers that were used. Now, the JAMB that used to be a day thing has now become 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this one working at his own leisure. And lastly, there's something we call uniformity of test content. There's something called uniformity of test content. If 3 students are to be assessed, the content that we use to assess them must be the same. Now, with the use of CBT, there's a concept we call randomization. We have about 150 in a pool. The computer will pick 50 out of that 150 for a student. Another student will sit, computer will pick another 50 for that student. Now, it means the 3 students will be exposed to 3 different set of questions. And they want to compete for the same admission. We know that we have problems. Now, these are issues that Professor Dibo Ojede and his men have to go back to the drawing board and look at, because these things have been copied but they have to look at the principles that are used over there.
Okay, so it's an aspect whereby Nigerians are copying.
We copy, but we don't copy in full.
Let's get to hear what some people said concerning CBT and PPA right here, and we'll surely be back.
A lot of malpractices, a lot of irregularities, a lot of mistakes have been made. Unlike we used to have it in the past when everybody was sure of what they got in terms of results. But these days there is a lot of controversies trailing the results that are produced by CBT. So on this basis, I think I want to go with PPT instead of CBT.
I think I prefer PPT in Nigeria to CBT. Number one, PPT ensures uniformity of questions. That is, candidates offering the same subject write the same examination, same questions and giving to them to answer. This currently goes on like this. Three candidates, different and center, answer different questions, all within the range of past examination questions. Some candidates have right here ready and inform those that have not written about the question they encounter. Some of these questions may be the same that will be encountered by other informed candidates in the examination hall. Another liquidity issue of students and some examination centers give difficult example and outbreak of the fortune when most candidates attempt papers were reported to have failed. This has caused shock among students. Some children, some were
Still on to Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM. Rise and Shine is the program you're listening to, and we are discussing the issue surrounding the use of the computer-based test or the paper
Pencil
test. Which one did you use?
I used the paper pencil test.
Wow. I wish I could ask Eniola. Eniola must have used the ink you put inside ink. All right. And we have distinguished gentlemen, educationists in the studio with us this morning, and we have Mr. Atonda Olajide.
And Mr. Ajayi Adebisi.
Looking at the way forward for Nigeria and the students, great children for the future of this great nation called Nigeria. In the aspect of JAMB using of the computer to set up exam questions, or to sit back and let's go back to our normal pencil paper examination, which is preferable. Some have said, yes, the use of the computer would reduce the aspect of malpractices, machineries coming to centers, but are we looking at the future where every country of the world, if you have to use South Africa as an example, they had started this as early as 1970. But I know that the Constitution of Nigeria says, Section 18 of the 1999 Constitution stipulates that government should direct its policy towards ensuring that there is equal and adequate educational opportunities at all levels. In the southwestern part of the country, we might say, yes, we seem to be more computer literate. But if you have to take this to the northern part, are the northerners, are they on that par with the southerners? Let's go back to our analyst in the studio this morning.
Yeah. All right, so Mr. Jude, to you now. Unlike other examinations like WAEC and NECO, JAMB lasts just for 1 year. You can just use it once. What do you think about this? Do you think it's actually right that you can use JAMB just once, and let's say a student doesn't get admission that year, he has to rewrite JAMB until he gets admission? Or do you think they should extend the validity period of JAMB?
Well, actually, I would say it will be okay by that. Reason being that recently they formed the bill in the National Assembly that it should extend validity. But we look at it, it's because of the problems on ground that we don't have adequate university that can accommodate our students. So if we have adequate universities, there won't be need for that. personally, if they want to put it on that, we should be having saying validity of the JAM results. To me personally, it won't be fair enough. It will be good enough. Because you will be sure of the result. Because today, if I can make you to realize something, although I said earlier on that computer is like gapping out, even though now they manipulate the result of JAM now on net, you see they will reduce particular results. The following morning, you see other results. So they duplicated results now. So I won't support it that they should extend validity of it. Rather, Nigerian government should make available universities for our children, so that once they sit for it in a year, they use to gain admission. I said that I'm going to be neutral enough. Then coming back to what I said earlier on, that like what DB did the other time, 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, 3 years ago, he tried to test run the CBT. Then some people did paper, some people did CBT. I would love it to continue that way till the time we build the capacity, and then we are very sure enough that this can be used adequately for our students to gain admission. Although, if you don't do that, we want to educate people PPT at all levels, we will continue having problems. That's my own side. So, extending validity of the JAM, for now, it will be too good. It will be too good because there will be duplication of it because of the computer hit we have. That's my own standard point.
Mr. Jai, while we were talking before we came into the studio earlier, we looked at the CBT. I was like, wow, with the CBT, we'll cop malpractices, cop the aspect of machineries. And you're like, for where it can only reduce. Are you sure it can only reduce or it can be wiped off totally?
One thing about malpractice in Nigeria is that let me first say this, that Nigeria is only society or a country where that name malpractice, exam malpractice, is used officially. Officially, where we talk about exam malpractice only in Nigeria. Now, CBT cannot wipe out malpractice. In that, even with the inclusion of biometrics, it is only if it is possible that JAM will own all the CBT centers, and it is JAM officials that will man all the CBT centers, such that there will be biometric machine, not this mobile that we use. A big one that you put your thumbprint there, then your data, that thumbprint will be the code to unlock your data in the database. But why that is not possible is this. We only talk about, we only push policy. We don't study it and do the nitty-gritty before we come up with it. If that has to happen, then JAM has to increase the database. We need to work on we have to work on the band. That is talking about communication sector now.
Okay.
Such that if about 1 million students are being checked into the exam hall at the same time, there will not be network congestion. There will not be network delay. There will not be network problems. There will not be issue of power outage. Are you getting it now? So if that is possible, then I will support that. It will eradicate it. But from one thing about a society is value. In Nigerian educational system, we have lost value. If a child is taught the value of dignity of labor, then there will not be a reason for that child to opt for malpractice, machinery. And even, let me say this, people are there, some will agree to it, many people will disagree. Parents pay machinery to write exams for their wards.
These days?
Parents take their wards to register into special centers. Are you getting it now?
Yes,
so
sir.
even with this CBT, it can be so arranged that everything will be manipulated and it will not be detected. That's why I said if federal government can foot the bill, that JAMB will be the ownership of the civic centers will be by JAMB, and the management be JAMB, such that there will not be any any participation from the private or any other factor involved. Then we can say it can reduce or it can eliminate it.
Eradicate.
But otherwise, you can only maintain although in the statistics that we have now, the figure of reported malpractice cases has reduced to around 150,000. Yes. The last
Wow.
one, yes, from that's a figure. That's a very big.
Oh, Mr. Jai, hold on. Mr. Jide wants to say something.
See, he said that the malpractices
Yes,
is only Nigeria they use officially. See, malpractice is everywhere in the world.
it is.
I can prove it to you. Recently, Bishop Oyedepo,
Okay.
every year, every session, in whether you're a university, he always addressed the students. It was this recent session, the exam they did last, that they were only to record that only one student was cut for malpractice, and they celebrated it. That's to say that malpractice is everywhere in the world, but the truth is this. The truth is this. We cannot eradicate malpractice. We can reduce it.
Okay.
We can only reduce it. But see, for the advent of this CBT, we have seen the drastic reduction. Sincerely speaking, but I realized that there are abnormalities. There are certain things that need to put on ground that are not yet put on ground. He said that JAMB should have their own CBT centers. They cannot actually have it. Reason being that they cannot fund it. It's very costly. It's not cost effective. But we can invite private owners and then put monitoring agent on ground. Monitoring agent on ground, and they will ensure that what they are required are put in place. Of recent, we want to have a CBT center. And we went to the office. I was one that went there. And we make inquiry. They gave us their requirements. I am very sure that people must have checkmate the two. And you realize that this is not cost effective. This is government thing. We need to bring in, we need to be private owners so that they can invest into the business. But we can ensure bringing out monitoring agents that will make sure that everything they required in the center are there. And then they will have their own staff to monitor, to inspect. So that is where I can stand. So, and moreover, I look at it, the CBT has advantages. We have quick results, results. Now, than before, although there are problems, but I believe that those problems can be solved.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jai, just hold on. Rather than, if we have to first of all look at the 2016 UTME that just came and thereabout, rather than call for the cancellation of CBT, why don't we just face the challenges and find a way
Solution.
to solve this issue?
Thank you very much. Let me take it from 2013 that we started
Okay.
this problem. In 2013, when it was imposed, I use the word imposed because during that registration, where I was working then, we were doing the registration, and we found that on Get to Reporter, the option for PPT was not coming up. So we were forced to pick CBT. So that's why I said imposed. Now after a certain number, after they've gotten a certain figure of students to write their CBT, they later on opened the PPT, and people opted for it. Now the issue is when we did that year, we had people that did CBT had good results. People that did paper and pencil, some of them failed. Now I had expected the prof to continue that trend. That every year we increase the percentage of CBT roughly by 5. Let's say we start with 20%, and next year we go to 25%, then we'll give it out. If you know you want to register for paper and pencil, you must have registered on or before this day. So whosoever that does not register at that time, we know that it's technically going for. And as they are increasing it, they will be increasing the capacity and the facilities. And gradually, if that is on, at least by now, we should be talking about 60-40%. That is 60 for CBT, 40 for paper and pencil. And if we have that, even parents that are shouting, students that are shouting all around now, will not have justification. You opted for it, and you have the problem. So be it.
Okay.
But it till now it was imposed. Last year, previous years, it was imposed. This year, last year he said that no paper and pencil will be written, and this year he did it. We are looking at the problems that will come up, and then what I expected him to do before the exam was that he's also have done trial tests. Test run. Remember, Professor Jika did the same thing for election. He test run the something and look at the problems and they try to tackle it. If you are done, say. Go and the rating comes, our archived Pentium 2, Pentium 3 system will be bring back to the table and still begin to do the exam and to be hanging. And at that time, nobody, and then lastly, most of these centers that are used are government-owned properties, centers that belong to government universities. If some of them are private, you can use the threat of I will not pay you. You understand? You've not rendered good service in your centers. So number of students wrote exam. So parents are having problem. So it means you are not giving us good service. So instead of paying you 1 million naira for the service, we'll pay you 400,000. Then they know that they have to come up. But this is government, they cannot sue each other. If they sue each other, they go up there, they use power that be, and they saw the whole thing. And the whole blame comes to him. Because as far as I'm concerned, either a center has done well or has not done well, I don't have any problem with any center. It's the job that we register with.
Mr. Jide.
See, I will not agree with you that we imposed CBT on Nigerians. So that I will never agree with that. There was a particular observation that they look at it that the available center on ground can only accommodate the number of certain people, and they have to reduce it. They have to stop it that time. That's what actually happened. But I can agree with him that they should have been increasing percentage by percentage every year before they phase it out, or rather make it on 20%, 30%, or 80%, 20% in that way. Okay. So that is one. They look at other side. Since the inception of this CBT, it has increased the level of Nigerians' computer literacy. Because look at it, there's a news I listened to some year back, Times News or so, something like that. They rated Nigeria as a 0 point something. They rate our computer literacy 0 point something. Imagine that. And we are saying that education grow a nation. The only way we can do this is to expose ourselves, to push ourselves into it. And since that time, he has brought idea of CBT. He has increased some sets of people, the income of some people, having a center where they can train people to have the learning skill of computer literacy. Initially, just parents have system in their houses. It becomes a dusty box that they just look at it used to watch movie. Whereas they are trying to know. Even some adults don't know how to operate system. Even the people in the government offices, parents don't know how to operate systems. So we have to use medium at which students can, even today, go to public schools now. Private schools have encouraged their nursery schools, the primary school pupils to learn how to use computer. And because they've seen the future ahead, if there's something like this, they will not do it, they won't learn it.
Is the PPT not taking us about 2 decades back?
The point is this, either CBT or PPT, none of the two is best, absolutely.
So which one is the best?
It has to be on comparative level.
Okay.
With our own level of technology, with our level with our financial status, and with the level of personnel that we have, I would say that we still have certain traces of paper and pencil in our system. Even if you go to universities, the examinations are written in what? Paper and pencils. We have in test and measurement, we have multiple choice questions. We have filling the gap, recalling questions. We have structured questions, where in education we call something analysis question, comprehension question. Students should be able to pick question, digest the question, and analyze all these objective things. Paper and pencil cannot do all those ones. But at jump level, because it's a stage determining, it's a life determining thing. Once a student fails jump, he waits for another year. Unlike WAEC, if you fail WAEC, you write NECO, you write GC. Jump is just one. If we continue with this CBT of a thing, then there should be option for PPT. Whosoever that wants to opt for it, and we leave post-jam for CBT. Let's university run CBT, absolutely.
All right, in conclusion, Mr. Olajide.
All right. I said earlier on that we cannot go all paperless generation. We can still be using paper. At least we can put on percentage. And that's the truth. Then the regularity we have in CBT can be adjusted, can be corrected. So let's invite private individuals that to have their own centers. And if private individuals come to the center, into the business, they won't want the business to flop. Than government owners that they don't care. If individual want to protect his business and give the best to the people, install a correct software, put a good power supply, and the rest, and everything will go smoothly.
All right, and with that, we have come to the end of the program Rise and Shine for today.
All right, a big thank you to Mr. Atonda Olajide and Mr. Ajayi Adebisi for coming on the program this morning and for really shedding light on the issue of CBT and PPT. And we just hope our government at all levels, from federal to the state to the local governments, we will get things right. Education, they say, is the bedrock of a nation, and the only thing as parents we can bequeath the kids is to give them sound and comprehensive education. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, gentlemen, once again for coming, and we appreciate your coming. Thank you to everybody out there who's been with us ever since we kicked off transmission of programs as early as 5 a.m. today, and we give you a pass mark, the thumbs up for being there for us. So the transmission team, Eniola Olauye and Dayo Balogun, Felix Ogudiron, everybody. And to my sister station right here, Omodile Oyedeko. Don't worry, I'll release your voice today. My name is Olatilido, and God bless you. So then, you have a wonderful day ahead. God bless you.